All right, well, speaking of getting nothing back, I'm going to put some people in the hot seat right now.
I wonder who.
I wonder who. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Frank and Michael in the room together, so we need to get some things out. Now, I want to shoot over to Michael. What was it like walking into the real world house? I mean, here we are, we meet Frank. And I've said this to Frank multiple times. Watching him, I respect him for being open, honest, and allowing people who go through the same feelings that he went through on the real world and being open and honest about it. What was it like meeting Frank at the very beginning?
Well, so as it goes, like, first off, Frank and I met off camera. There had been a time where we were in a lesbian bar. It was just the two of us. Literally, we were the only two guys in the bar. So we looked across each other, and I bought him a drink. And you don't see this on the show, but there was no cameras there. There was nothing there. I didn't sign any papers. I didn't sign any waivers. I saw somebody. I thought he was attractive, and I wanted to talk to him. And
this man right here,
that's him.
Attractive.
That's him.
Where's my bullshit dollar at? He don't look good.
And you know what? And at first, and then moving on through that night, finding out that, you know, he is on the real world and everything that was going on, I thought it was funny. I was there with my friends. It was Pride weekend. We thought it was funny, but over that weekend, I fell for somebody. I fell for somebody that I thought was an amazing person, and I still to this day think that he's a great guy and that he means well, and that's what got a hold of me. The person that is deep down inside of Frank, I really fell for somebody, and you know, from the very get-go, Frank said to me, he said, this show, because I walked into this and I went, whoa, I don't want to be on this show. I didn't sign up for the real world. I didn't want to be here. And he said, he said, you don't, pretend there's no cameras here. Be yourself. It's us here. And so throughout my time on the real world, I tried my hardest to just be us and to just have a real relationship with him. And so whether he thought it was real or he thought it was fake or anybody else thought it was real or fake, it was real to me, and the relationship was real, and the emotions were real, and the ending was real.
So let's talk about the ending. We saw from Frank's position how the ending went. You wrote a letter to him. What were your feelings as far as, you know, you found out he slept with somebody else, you know, and on camera you seemed cool with it, you know, but then as you went away, you wrote a letter, and that's how we saw the breakup of it. What went through your mind? And even to this day, from that moment to this day,
you're a real dick, Frank.
No. We're gonna get to Frank in a second. So from this day, from that day to this day, what were your feelings? Where are your feelings? And
well, if there would have been a camera in that car on the way home that night, you would have seen. I tried to play it cool while I was there, but honestly, if there would have been a camera in my car on the way home, I broke down. I was on the phone with my mother, telling her like everything that happened, and she made me pull over because it was like, either if there would have been a bridge, I would have drove off it. Like, I cared that much about this person. But you know what? I understood. Like, and I've been in his position, and we've always joked that, you know, I'm 2 years older than Frank, but I'm not that much older. But in 2 years, there's a lot of experience to be had. And he's 22 years old. He's gonna go through, and this was his so-called first relationship, and there's a lot of growing and a lot of learning, and you know, I don't regret being a part of that, because I will always care for him and I'll always be there for him. But it was definitely hard for me. It was not the way I wanted things to end, and not the way I wanted our relationship to go. But now I can look back and I understand.
All right, so understanding within that, I'm going to ask you a question. I know you kind of already answered it, but it has been brought up in the past, so that's why I'm going to bring this up to you now. There was never a moment where any part of your relationship was built on the fact that you wanted to be a part of the real world?
No.
All right, so now we're going to move over to Frank. Frank, you just heard everything that our dear friend Michael just said. I know last week you kind of spoke as far as, you know, almost the same thing, saying that, you know, this was your first relationship. You wanted to be in an open, you know, you kind of wanted to swim in the waters. Where were your feelings? I mean, even just hearing after, you know, Leroy, pushing buttons over there. Hearing what Michael just said, I mean, did you know all of this coming from Michael? Do you believe it? What's your stance as far as today?
As far as today?
Yes.
I believe about half, and the rest I could care less about, really.
And do you honestly feel that any part of this was to be on the real world?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, we've seen it reflected in his actions to like after the show's ended, and if I want, how is that?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's been through tweets, it's been through talking to people you hated before, it's been through trying to get back at me by hooking up with people I've hooked up with. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's petty. It's dumb. And you say you're 2 years older than me, but you act like you're a baby sometimes. So
Wow.
I'm over it.